Welcome to another Workshop Wednesday. We have an extra guest today that we're going to talk about. But last week we talked about a situation where Intuit Online Payroll is being transitioned out, which is
standalone.
I don't know what would you what would you would call that a trigger event, right, Carrie?
Yeah.
When something changes, right?
Whenever anything changes it triggers a lot of angst, and therefore we usually have to come up with the solution of what to do. And while we're also, selling and reselling and stuff, we find out, there's some things we found out along the way. So even though they have ended the standalone version, they have changed it. So they're still offering a standalone version, but it's brand confusing.
Yeah. We talked a little bit about that last week, and how confusing that might be. But can you think of like another time where something changed and it made you as someone in the accounting profession to kind of reevaluate, some a service or software or anything that was kind of in the past? What would you do you recall anything like that?
Yes. So when Intuit Payment Network ended, that caused a lot of angst, and we had to find some third-party solutions to meet or beat it. And actually, we were already using, so CBG was ahead of the game on that. We were already using a third-party app that made e-invoicing even better, and so on. So, this happens here and there. We try real hard to stick with, QuickBooks or tightly integrated solutions. But when it comes to payroll, often I find myself going,
how is that?
So if it's something integrated, I usually just said, no, it can't be done. I sort of danced around the topic. And then thanks to the folks at ADP, I found out that some of my assumptions were wrong about what they offer. And anyway, so.
Well, I mean, if you think back to when you started 20 years ago, right? I mean, there was
last year.
I mean, the core functionality of QuickBooks was easily to manage, right? But I mean, nowadays there are so many nuances.
Yes.
You just take the aspect of e-commerce, and how sales tax has taken, compliance and remittance and collection of sales tax as a relatively simple task of I collect money and I give it to a government agency, is super complicated, right? And those kind of services and those kind of services of offering that as a service to your client has become, an elephant that you need to eat, and as far as setting it up and that sort of stuff, right?
And one of the things that you just made me realize is something that we're doing too is, back in the oldie days, V1 DOS QuickBooks, we were in one state, one town. I mean, it got really complicated if I sold some product into another area. And now we're doing sales and support all over thanks to Zoom. We have employees, in different states that can work thanks to remote access. So that makes it more complicated where you're having to collect their withholding. They don't want to withhold in South Carolina. They might live in California where it's not easy. South Carolina is, as Kaitlyn will tell us, is fairly easy compared to California.
Yeah.
So, and then the other thing that we were realizing as we grew with QuickBooks was you have companies come that might be a good fit for the software, but they have a lot of employees. They want to withhold for manage a 401k. They're asking me questions like workers' comp, health insurance, PEO, I might say that right. They might have 1,000 employees. They might have multi-state. They were always, sometimes they needed it to be integrated tighter with job costing, sometimes not. And we didn't have the fit. We just didn't. We just don't. We don't have HR stuff. Years ago we did. And what happened? It disappeared. We used to have some kind of employee organizer inside of Desktop.
Yeah.
That was okay. It was better than not having anything. So it just feels like it's the payroll world has marinated and it's ebb and flowed, and it's very odd, the QuickBooks products, how some states are covered, some aren't, and it's a lot to navigate. So for years I sort of avoided it. I'm like, oh well, I'm just in South Carolina, so I don't have to worry about the Wyoming and Indiana. But when we launched our partner program in 2015, we have a really good partner who's like, Carrie, we love Desktop, we do job costing, we need it, but my customers are in Indiana and Wyoming. And I was like, okay. So we can only ignore the pink elephant in the room so long. So here we are.
All right.
So
what's really kind of coming to the table is, working with companies that allow you to be that trusted advisor, but recommended, but take off a lot of those takes to someone who likes that stuff, right? I mean, like Avalara loves sales tax, right?
And I used to love payroll.
And ADP seems to like payroll, right?
and as an individual consultant, I cut my teeth on running those payroll tax returns. I can do them for South Carolina all day long, but you can't make any money on that anymore. You just can't. So as a consultant, I remember the first couple projects I had where they wanted me to run their payroll. And I thought, what happens if I go on vacation? I need a life too. So I started shifting and saying, I don't want to run your payroll. I want to put you with somebody I trust. Get it set up. I don't mind rolling up my sleeves and helping you get from A to Z to get set up. But then I want you to be able to run it yourself. I need to teach my customers how to swim, but they don't want to know how to do payroll. I don't want to go beyond my expertise. I only knew that because I had to, but not most of the people in our world they don't even want to know how to do it.
Right. And so we've invited a lifeguard on duty, Kate, who to talk to us a little bit about the ADP offerings with payroll. So how long you've been with ADP? What's your story?
Yeah, so I've been with ADP about 1.5 years. I originally started in the Florida region, and then I moved up here to South Carolina kind of during the pandemic when everyone could work from home, and then we had to go back out into the field, and I said, Florida's a little too hot for me. I'm originally from New York, didn't want to go back to New York and shovel snow, so ended up in the middle. So right over here in South Carolina, I'm personally located in Myrtle Beach, so I about two hours from where Carrie is, but love ADP, love South Carolina. A little background is my dad actually owns a small company. So I've seen the good, the bad of owning a company and just seen like the whole background of it. And I always knew I wanted something to do something that helps out small businesses. Wasn't sure if I necessarily wanted to start one, but just really help them out because they do more than anyone knows. So I really like that I can, be an advisor to them and help them out and then ultimately help you guys out as well.
Yeah. So, and thanks for joining us today because, as Carrie and I have come to understand the ins and outs of, when I left Intuit and I had to, I no longer had to kind of keep up with what QuickBooks would do for payroll. I tuned it out, right? And then all the stuff started happening with COVID and the PPP and the CARES Act and, guaranteed sick time. It's a full-time job just trying to keeping up with the changes that were happening. What is, what has the COVID changes with payroll, done for you guys? Like how's that
Yeah,
been?
I would say COVID, as you guys all I'm sure have seen, it's changing constantly, whether it's regulation, state, local, nationwide. There's always something new. And what ADP does is we make sure to stay on top of this. This way, our advisors like you guys, or even our clients, they don't have to go to Google and see, okay, well, what's the new regulation or what tax credits are out there available to me? We make sure that all of that's accessible for them. I have, several of my clients that are using ADP to help pull for the ERC credit. We have the PPP reporting specifically like set aside, organized, done. They just have to go in there. We show them exactly how to pull it depending on what platform they are. And they just have to pull it and then send it off, get it all done, get that tax credit, not have to pay back the entire PPP loan, depending on different businesses. But instead of having to search or having to go to someone else or not having to pay it all back because they just don't have the time to do it, we try to make that easy and little seamless so they don't have to sit there and search and spend most of their time doing that because there's so much more that they need to do instead of that.
And one of the things that I really liked about ADP, the more I learned about ADP, is that it's really a right fit for not just for small businesses, but also for accountants who recommend payroll services, because you have an option for totally hands off, right? Like, here you go, go talk to them. You have to the other end of the spectrum of where I'm intimately working with my clients and their payroll, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, ADP doesn't have a one size fit all. We have different levels of platforms, and then within those platforms, depending on the company size or employee size or what their specific needs are, there's then bundles broken out into that. So if they really just need payroll and they don't need any HR support, we have that. If they need someone that has to process their payroll, or they don't want to hire someone for HR, they want to use someone dedicated at ADP, we have that. So it's everything in between. And then on top of that, when I came on board with ADP and everyone's like, oh, what are you going to do at ADP? I'm like, I'm going to help small businesses with payroll. Like, that's what I'm going to do. And within like a month, I realized like I was mistaken. We do so much more than that. We do HR, we do 401k, we do simple IRAs, we do workers' compensation, we do time management. There's like, that doesn't even scratch the surface of what we do. And what's great about that is ADP has this revenue share program, which I haven't even told you guys yet, but we just announced 2 days ago, you guys can now also get revenue back for workers' compensation. So we have revenue for payroll. So we have the revenue share for retirement services. We have revenue share for workers' compensation. So all these three things you guys can get checked for. You guys can get paid out on. So ADP sees the value and the partnership with you guys, and we want to make sure that you guys are also getting paid back. Because like you said, Carrie, earlier, sometimes doing their own payroll, there's not much money in it. So this is definitely a good route to take to get that, get that check.
Yeah. And so many times customers ask, what kind of payroll? I mean, what kind of workers' comp should I do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And what's great about we could do a whole other session about the different ADP besides payroll, but there's personally what I like about workers' comp, just quickly on it, is we do pay by pay. So it's integrated with their payroll. So there's no upfront premium. They're only paying the workers' compensation off the employees they run that week. So it really helps out at the end because cash flow is really everything, especially with the small businesses.
Yes.
So they're not in it to get the money. It's really to help you guys out because that's how they designate and they design all these specific programs. It's really for small businesses and making sure that their needs are taken care of.
Yeah. So like there's so now you have a hybrid option, right? Like if you really love the QuickBooks payroll solution for cutting paychecks, you can work with ADP for the things that QuickBooks doesn't do.
Exactly. Yeah. We understand that sometimes people prefer other platforms. We know we may not be the best in certain areas, and that's okay. Outsourcing is great. And we outsource things too. So what's great about the revenue share programs is that they're 3 separate programs. So you don't have to be on payroll to get paid out for retirement service. You can still get paid out for retirement service, and you can get paid out for the benefits. but you don't have to have your client on payroll. So that's just, a lot of people don't understand that and don't realize that.
Right.
And I just want to make sure that everyone, you can pick and choose what you want, but you get paid out at all. So however big you want the check to be.
Right. I mean, you do get asked a lot when, especially when a company's just starting out, or there's, when they start to grow is when, if you hadn't taken care of some of those things initially, you're like, wait a minute, I need to make sure that my employees get all the benefits that they deserve. And, let's offer some things, let's add some things to make it a desirable place to work. And you need to, these days, employees sort of have the upper hand right now, because it's hard to get good employees and you want them to stay. So that's one way to do it, is to beef up your benefits and make sure that you're taking advantage of all the tax. And it's so confusing. And I found for me last year, it was hard for me to find a resource I didn't know about you all, a resource to ask these questions about. For example, there was some kind of a benefit about if the employer pays part of the employee's student loan up to a certain amount, and how to do that, how to code that, and how to, take advantage of those perks while they're around. They did add that for one more year. So there's a lot that those are good write-offs that if you have the profit in there, the businesses, that's a way to incentivize to keep your employees. You can say, after you're here a certain amount of time, this is something I offer. So
yeah, it's great because, and even if I don't know the answer, we also have a dedicated hotline for accountants. So you'll get to talk to someone within the United States, and it's a dedicated line just to you guys. Like, clients can't call in, banks can't call in, no one else can call in but accountants. So if you have a specific question, you can get the answer right away. And then on top of that, we also have a platform called Accountant Connect, which is free to you guys. It was created by accountants, for accountants. We actually got together whole room before COVID. We can actually go in one room together, not wear masks, no social distancing. And the accountants and the bookkeepers were like, hey, this is what we need to best partner with ADP. And ADP said, okay, we got it. We understand what you need. We'll pull together. And, I'm going through a conference right now. And yesterday they just announced all these new tools on there. So it's really exciting and definitely something I'm happy to share with anyone who listens to this call or sees it or hears it. We can hop on a call and I can walk you through all that as well.
Awesome. Now, the part of the challenge, I think, for all of the different, just Intuit payroll services is trying to kind of lay all the cards out on the table and see which ones works for desktop, which ones work for QuickBooks Online. What are they called, right? So just talk a little bit about them, and maybe if you have something that you want to share to kind of, put it all on one screen, maybe as far as what your services are called, what the different levels of payroll service are called, because I understand you have an enhanced payroll service.
Yep. We do. Okay. So I have it printed out. Let me see if I can find it really quick on my desktop. But I have this.
I caught you off guard.
You caught me off guard. But I always have this. It's actually, I laminate it because it is like my Bible. It's easy to read, easy to refer to. Let me give you 1 second. This should pop up.
It's Payroll
Carrie and Dan,
Chapter 1.
I'm very organized. You guys know I'm very organized. So I like things exactly where they should be. Let me see. Can I go ahead and share my screen?
You should be able to.
Okay.
The book of Payroll, Chapter 1, Verse 3.
Yeah, okay. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay, so typically when clients have between 1 and 49 employees, they're on what's called our Run platform. This is designed specifically for small businesses just because it doesn't need a lot of the larger business needs. So we don't need to overwhelm you. We don't need to charge you more because it's available. Because if you're not going to use it, there's no need to pay for it. So like you guys have enhanced, we also have enhanced, except it's definitely a little bit different. It is our lowest bundle, but that includes the state filings. That includes access to payroll online. You can pay payroll right from your phone. You can call in. 3 different options, all great options. Our payroll takes about 4 or 5 clicks. If you have 1099 workers, it's 5. If you have just W-2, it's 4 clicks, and then payroll's ran for the week. You can process payroll up until Thursday at 5 o'clock for a Friday check date. So that can be direct deposit, live checks delivered, Wisely cards. All those are included in that lowest package. From there, you also get ZipRecruiter ads, you get background checks, you get the employee hiring, employee onboarding. All of that is in our lowest package. Wow. From there, if you wanted to go up to the Complete Plus, you'll also have access to a little bit more of HR stuff. So you get similar background checks also. You just get a little bit more background checks. So if you either have a higher turnover or you have towards like the more employees, that might be helpful. You have the compliance database updates. You have the employee handbook wizard, which is personally my favorite. I know back in Florida, it costs about $3,000 just to get a lawyer to write up a handbook. This you have access to for free, right included in your package. And I like to explain it as more of like a Mad Libs. You pick out the industry, you pick out, if there's anything specific you need, like the employees can't have their phones on the floor or they have to wear a certain color or anything you want specific to your company. And then it's branded. It doesn't show ADP. It shows your company, your logo. It looks like you created it, not ADP. So that's a really cool task that's filled in there. And then if you wanted to go up to our HR Pro feature, what I really like about that is the training and the support that comes in there. So if you don't want to hire someone for HR, you really just want to, refer to ADP, and that can be your resource if you're getting a lot of questions or you're just HR is not going well for your clients. That would be a great package for them because there's the employee assistance, there's a training, they help with if anyone leaves. And then on top of that, you also have access to our Upnetic legal services. So it's really so much more than payroll. But then again, you might not need that. So maybe the enhanced would be better for you. So it's just really having those conversations. And, I can have it with you, I can have it with your client. It takes about 15, 20 minutes at most. And then we figure out what their specific needs are instead of just telling them, yep, go with HR Pro. Because if they don't need it, we're not gonna force you into it. And that's just one of the big things that I personally believe in with ADP.
Awesome. Now this is all in the Run platform, which is available through Accountant Connect, or tell us a little bit about what Run versus some of the other offerings, or are we talking larger companies, corporations with multiple hundreds of employees is like the next step?
So typically if they have, I would say if they're towards the 50, 45, and they need a lot of like job costing and stuff like that, they'll go to our Workforce Now platform or Next Gen, depending. I know one of them just came out. Personally, I'm not as more well-rounded in that because I do partner with someone, because you guys saw everything that's in Run. If I need to know every single platform, I would drive myself crazy. There's just so much, because that's just the payroll stuff. That doesn't even include the beyond the payroll stuff. But I know, like my dad personally, he's on the Workforce Now platform, and he does electrical contracting. So there's a lot of stuff within that platform that needs like the job costing and a lot of more hands-on stuff. So that's why he went with that one rather than my platform. So it's really just having this conversation and discovering like the needs and, the gaps. And if there's anything that they're missing that their payroll service doesn't now, or if what they love now is just going away, it's figuring out, okay, what do you love? Here's what we can do to replace that because it's no longer available. Right.
So the best place to start is just having a conversation with someone like yourself, and then determining what their payroll needs are.
Yeah.
Either of those will go to, the ones that you will go to either version of QuickBooks, right? So it's if they're using desktop, it'll go to QuickBooks Desktop. If they're using online, they'll be able to send it to. So it kind of takes the place of what we were talking about last week, is that IOP, that in between. This could be a great solve for that, because there's something in between both versions of QuickBooks. Again, it's keeping them out of deeply integrated with QuickBooks, so that you're not concerned. You wouldn't be concerned about employees seeing something that you wouldn't want them to.
Correct. It takes 5 steps. I did it yesterday with one of my clients. 5 steps to link QuickBooks and ADP. And you just have to do it once. And we do, if you want to do a little more intricate mapping, then it's a little more, but it's just a drop down box. Typically you say exactly what it wants to go to, and then you got that done, click OK, and that's it. Five steps. So payroll's 4 steps. So blanket is 5 steps. And
Right.
it's just, it was crazy walking.
The 9-step shuffle.
9 clicks of the button and you're good. But it's just, and seeing how easy it is and how we integrate. And that's just what like brings me back to what I said earlier. We understand we're not great at bookkeeping. That's why we do outsource. And that's why we do partner with it and make it easy integrated with you guys, because you guys are better with the bookkeeping.
So and one of the things you brought up about your dad and all is there is a way, because one of the reasons I said stay away from outsourcing is if you need job costing, that's an additional benefit that you could obviously for a fee pay to have added to it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and not getting too much into the weeds, but we do have what's called ADP Marketplace, which is where we partner with 600 other people. So in there is T-Sheets and now QuickBooks Times. So if they really love QuickBooks Times, but they want to come on board for ADP, we can integrate the two. And that's just one of the partners that we program with, because we know that, you know, sometimes you got to outsource things, and let's one, get a discount for our clients on that. And 2, let's make it easy. Let's make it integratable. And this way they don't have to sit there and hire this, and this. Let's put it all in one place. And even if it's not ADP for one thing, we can integrate it and link it up and use one of our partners.
That's awesome, because that was one of the things that would hold me back. And then I was selling a lot of the product that was decommissioned, which didn't, by the way, allow you to do job costing at all. But I sold a lot of it because it sat all by itself. For if a customer was wanting to hold out for maybe one day, I need QBO, but I'm not ready yet. I want to stay in desktop where I'm familiar. What I liked about a standalone product, which makes your product also nice, is that it's not product. You don't have to pick a product. You can sit in the middle and set it up to go either way. So if I switched from desktop over to online one day, or vice versa, if I said, oh, this isn't good, I want to go back, we can at least configure that to sync back up.
Exactly. I like to look at ADP as more of a service than a product. So we don't just sell you one thing and then it's done. Like all my clients, I mean, I have clients that I talk to at 10 o'clock at night because that's just what works for them, or before in the morning because that they are driving to work and they're driving to the job site, and that's just whatever works best for them is when I get on the phone with them. As long as they give me a heads up and I'm not sleeping or whatever. I like to go to Orange Theory. It's Hell Week this week. So as long as we're not exhausted from the gym, but it's having access to me and making sure that I fit their needs and not just sell them everything or sell them nothing. Like there is something for everyone. It's just figuring out what the pain points are and what they need and what we have to offer to them. It's not just going to be one thing. There's going to be choices for them. They don't have to just, okay, ADP got signed up on one thing and now that's done. Now they have to call into an 800 number or go to a chat box. They have my cell phone number. They can text me, email me, call me, however they want to get a hold of me. We can definitely get everything figured out. And it all starts with just a simple conversation and not just I feel like a lot of people are scared. ADP, such a big name. I know we do the Coca-Colas of the world. I mean, my employee size average, I would say, is about 4 to 5 employees.
Wow. And that's really good to understand that, because it's worth learning what you can offer. And what I like is that, you know, the solutions that QuickBooks offers are fine for starting out if that's all you need, but people grow and and if you want to keep employees, you have to offer more. You can't just say, here's your paycheck. So
exactly. And we can grow with them. And like you said earlier, the employees have the upper hand right now. So if they're not happy, if they're not getting paid as much as they want, they don't have the benefits to keep them there. They don't have the accessibility to like HR support, or they don't feel like they're being valued. They can easily leave. Joe's Pizza Place is hiring down the shop, or Sally's Shoes are hiring. Like everywhere you walk now is everyone's hiring. So it's just really making sure you maintain that top talent.
Yeah. So. And if you think about, you know, all of the Intuit's functionality, not just payroll, but, you know, when it comes to like receipt management, you know, we talked a little bit about that. QuickBooks is like the shallow end of the pool for a lot of these things, right? Like it'll get you started and you know, you can do these functions, but there's a but, right? Like Yeah, it doesn't do that.
Invoicing. Yeah, you can
Right.
email an invoice, but you don't have access to the history. So it's a yeah, but. So it kind of gives you a taste of what you want it to do, but.
And that's why they've, also, had the foresight to work with other companies that do, right? So if you need more in your receipt management, you've got, a host of places that you can snap a picture and, do expense, from everything from Expensify to, to Neat or, take your pick, like there's all sorts of different things that you can get into. Receipt Bank, all those things that will scrape the data off more so than what QuickBooks will do, right out of the box. So, when you're having that conversation about payroll, right, you may reach a point where QuickBooks will do certain things really well, but then there's a but I need workers' comp in Wyoming, right?
Yep. And then it's great because then everyone not only can your clients get the help they need, but you guys also get the revenue share check for it. So it's a win-win for both. And that's really, that's my favorite part. Because not only am I helping small business owners out and helping you guys out and, maybe planning that vacation, or especially with the holidays coming up, who can't use an extra couple $100, couple $1,000 in their pocket? I mean,
yeah,
I'll take it. I'm on Amazon Prime way too much.
Me too. Well, and also, what's the ADP stand on when a customer needs to come over? Because I know online is one answer and desktop payroll's another. To me, this is like the time to be thinking about it and approaching your customers. Are you ready for a change? Does it get there's a time it gets really busy for onboarding, or are you?
Yeah, so actually Monday, this past Monday was like our first big day of our big payroll season. Cause like you guys all know, end of the year is, I'd be out of a job if switching payroll over during the year wasn't easy. But right now, when you start over at the beginning of the year, there's no balances that need to be pulled. A lot of times, especially before the holidays, business owners are evaluating their workers' comp, their health and benefits, their payroll, all their back-end processes. They're having those conversations now. In November, December time slows around a little bit because of the holidays. And then January, they're ready to jump back in. So I would say between this previous Monday through, I would say mid-February is our biggest time onboarding clients, having conversations with accountants, bookkeepers, and their clients, and just making sure that everyone's taken care of. So it's really just, for me, it's a lot of good time management and just color coding everything and making sure that I'm available for everyone. But it's a busy time, but it's the best time to get to help everyone out.
It's hell quarter, not just hell week.
Yeah, hell quarter.
Orange.
Oh no, Orange Theory. I'm only doing it for the T-shirt. So helping out the business owners is a lot more meaningful than the little T-shirt. So
we'll work for shirts.
I hope their T-shirts are soft.
I'm hoping.
T-shirt snob.
We had one last year that I did Hell Week, and it was soft. So I'm hoping this year's the same quality and it's worth it. But you have to complete 5 days, and I'm on day 4. So we did yesterday was a 14-minute straight row.
Well, you're moving, so
I'm moving.
That's good. That's good.
Still moving, still powering through. Yep.
Don't touch.
So I haven't lifted my arms up too high.
Right. Well, thanks for joining us. I think that's a great way to kind of close us out here today on the workshop. And you guys at ADP have made yourself available to maybe pop on a few more of the workshops when we have some of these discussions, like big the latest change is the vaccine mandate, right? Like questions about that, and as things come up. Sorry.
WFH, working from home, or RV.
Yeah.
The things that as things come up, maybe you can pop on and maybe provide a little bit of insight from the ADP perspective about what does this mean for small businesses, coming on the workshop. So thank you for joining us.
Guys. Appreciate it.
And we'll see you everyone next week for another Workshop Wednesday.
Have
Thank
a
you,
great
everyone.
week.